is Chuck Winter, the guy here. From Charlotte.
Welcome to the University of Maine, everyone. A special welcome to our University of Maine students. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. My name is Aaron. I'm president of the Ratio Christian Student Club here at the University of Maine. And at the Ratio Christian Student Club, we're passionate about the fact that the Christian faith has reasonable foundations for being true. And we have weekly meetings here at the University of Maine at Bennett Hall, which is not too far away, 102 Bennett, every Thursday at 6 p.m. So I just want to make a quick introduction. Call your folks Travis. I want you to stand up for a second. Travis is one of our fearless leaders of the Ratio Christian Student Club. These are Thursday night meetings. So if you don't get a chance to engage and interact tonight with someone, I encourage you to come on out to the meetings. I promise you, Frank's going to be amazing, but Travis is no slouch. Travis is a smart guy. I've enjoyed learning from him in the last time, so I hope you join us for that. And I just wanted to say a quick special thank you as well for all the organization that went into making this event happen. Is Brooke in here, so I can embarrass her? She is. Brooke, stand up, please. You guys can just give a And so, without further ado, I'm going to make an introduction and invite Dr. Turek out there. Frank Turek is a dynamic speaker and award-winning author, or co-author of 4 books: Stealing from God, Why Atheists Need God to Make Their Case, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, Correct, Not Politically Correct, and Legislating Wrath. As president of CrossingThings.org, Frank presents powerful and entertaining evidence of Christianity in churches, high schools, and college campuses. He's also debated several prominent atheists, including Christopher Hitchens and David Silverman, president of the American Atheists. Frank hosts an hour-long TV program each week called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist that is broadcast Wednesday nights on Direct TV channel 378. His radio program called Cross-Examined and Frank Turek airs on 186 stations every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. It's available continuously on the free Cross-Examined app. Frank is a widely featured guest in the media as a leading apologetics expert and cultural commentator. He's appeared on hundreds of radio programs and many top TV programs you might know, including The O'Reilly Factor, Hannity and Holmes, Faith Under Fire, and Politically Incorrect. He also writes a column for townhall.com and several other sites. A former aviator in the U.S. Navy, Frank has a master's degree from George Washington University and a doctorate from Southern Evangelical Seminary. He and his wife Stephanie are blessed with 3 grown sons. Will you please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Frank Turek.
Good evening, Black Bears. Good evening. I want to go all the way back to September 29, 2006.
That's when Petty Officer Michael Mansour is a United States Navy SEAL operating in Ramadi, Iraq. He's standing on a roof in Ramadi, and he's standing in front of a doorway to this roof. He has 2 Navy SEAL colleagues lying in the sniper-prone position next to him. They've already taken AK-47 fire and a rocket-propelled grenade, but they're not exactly sure where the enemy is. There's a bit of a lull in the fighting. Insurgents have blocked off the streets in Ramadi, and there's someone on the loudspeaker in the town mosque yelling, "Kill the Americans!" As Mansour and his team are looking for the next attack, an insurgent from an unknown location throws a grenade up on the roof. It hits Mansour in the chest, and it falls to his feet. Due to the length of the throw, there's no opportunity to pick it up and throw it back. He has only a split second to make a decision. He can leap through the doorway behind him and save himself, but if he does, his two colleagues lying on the roof will surely die. Mansour yells, "Grenade!" But instead of jumping backward to save himself, he jumps forward, chest first, onto the grenade. It detonates. 25 minutes later, 25-year-old Michael Mansour is dead. His two Navy SEAL colleagues lying on the roof receive only minor injuries because Mansour's body muffled the blast. One of the survivors said at Mansour's funeral, "Mikey looked death in the face that day and said, 'You will not take my friends, I will go in their stead.'" I've never seen a United States president cry until April of 2008. That's when President George W. Bush invited Mansour's parents into the East Room of the White House to give them their son's Medal of Honor posthumously. The president couldn't even get through the citation without breaking down. Since then, Mansour's high school in Garden Grove, California, built a new stadium. They named it Michael Mansour Memorial Stadium. The golden trident that the SEALs wear dominates the 50-yard line. January of this year, North Island, California, just outside of San Diego, the United States Navy commissioned the USS Michael Mansour, the newest guided missile destroyer in the fleet, Zumwalt class. This is Mansour's mother, Sally, being escorted onto the ship, named in honor of her son. Now, why did they do this? Because Michael Mansour literally sacrificed himself to save his friends. "There's no greater love than to sacrifice yourself to save your friends," said Jesus of Nazareth before he went to the cross. Mansour sacrificed himself to save his friends. The question is, would anybody sacrifice himself to save you? And the answer is, someone already has. His name is Jesus of Nazareth. But in our culture today, fewer and fewer people believe it. They think the story's invented. After all, it's got miracles in it. We don't believe in miracles anymore. Hasn't science somehow disproven miracles? And this was written down by religious people. And we know religious people embellish things. They make things up. So how can you believe such a story? Well, I actually think the story is true, and I think it's relatively easy to show that the story's true. You only need to answer 4 questions in the affirmative to show that Christianity's true. In other words, if you investigate these 4 questions, I think you'll realize that the answer to these 4 questions is yes, and if the answer to these 4 questions is yes, then Christianity's true. What are the 4 questions? Here are the 4 questions. Now that is some pretty grooving music, isn't it? Yeah. That's actually from our TV show, which, as Aaron mentioned, is on every Wednesday nights, 9 p.m., DirecTV channel 378. If you don't have DirecTV, it's on Roku. You guys know what Roku is? R-O-K-U. Look for NRB TV on Roku, National Religious Broadcasters on Roku. If you don't have DirecTV and you don't have Roku, it's on this new technology sweeping Bangor right now. It's called the Internet. Have you guys heard of this? Yeah, it's actually on our website. It'll be on tonight at 9. We're also on radio, as he said, every Saturday morning. I don't know if it's on up here, but that's okay. It's podcasted. It's on our app. You can listen to it anytime you want. And what we do is we present evidence for Christianity and we cross-examine ideas against it. Now, why are these the 4 questions? Truth, God, miracles, and the New Testament. And this is going to serve as our outline here tonight. We're going to go through each one of these. But why are these the 4 questions? Well, the first question, does truth exist? Why is that important? Because you hear people say things like, there's no truth. You got your truth. I got my truth. All truth is relative, right? Well, if there's no truth, then Christianity can't be true. Of course, if there's no truth, then atheism can't be true either, right? So we're going to deal with that question first. Second question, does God exist? Obviously, Christianity can't be true if there's no God. Well, I hope to show you tonight that there really is a theistic God. What's that? A spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, moral, personal, intelligent creator who created all things and sustains all things to this very moment. We're going to look at 3 arguments for this being. These arguments are mentioned in the Bible, but you don't need the Bible to know them. You do not need the Bible or any other religious book to know that God exists. Third question is, are miracles possible? Obviously, Christianity can't be true if miracles are not possible. But I hope to show you tonight that not only are miracles possible, but the greatest miracle in the Bible has already occurred, and even atheists are admitting the data for this miracle. We'll see that here tonight. Then we're going to get to the key question, is the New Testament true? The New Testament doesn't have a prayer if there's no truth, no God, or no miracles. But if truth exists, if God exists, if miracles are possible, then we can see if the documents are reliable enough, not inerrant, they don't have to be inerrant, but just reliable enough to tell us whether one event from the ancient world took place. And what would that event be? The resurrection of Jesus, right? Because if Jesus rose from the dead, game over, Christianity's true. Of course, if he didn't rise from the dead, game over, it's false. You might as well sleep in on Sunday and do what you want the rest of the week. Now, some of you are going, wait a minute, Frank, what about the Old Testament? Do you believe the Old Testament's true? Well, look, if the New Testament's reliable, you get the Old Testament thrown in. Why? Who's in the New Testament that can authenticate the Old Testament? Jesus, yes. If you're ever in Sunday school, you don't know the answer, just say Jesus, you'll probably be right. That's right. It's Jesus, Pastor. That's right. If Jesus really rose from the dead and is God, as the New Testament documents claim he is, now that's a big if, but if he really is God, whatever God teaches is true. Jesus taught the entire Old Testament as the Word of God, so if the New Testament's reliable, you get the Old Testament thrown in. Now, there's a lot more argumentation than these 4 particular questions. If you want to go further, we have some books here. I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, a 12-part DVD series that a lot of people use with homeschools and small groups and that kind of thing. And then a newer book called Stealing from God, Why Atheists Need God to Make Their Case. I've noticed that when atheists are arguing there is no God, they actually have to steal aspects of reality that would only exist if God existed in order to say he doesn't exist. In effect, they have to sit in God's lap to slap his face. Now, I'm going to go through this material very quickly. So if you want this entire PowerPoint presentation, all you need to do is text the word evidence to 44222. Text the word evidence to 44222. I'm going to send you the entire PowerPoint presentation in a PDF format. Okay? We don't give your email address to anybody else. Now, if you do get a book or a DVD, I want to make sure you know that all of the proceeds from the sale of the books and the DVDs will go to feed needy children. Mine. Okay? Just so you know, I got 3 sons, so I need some help. Actually, they're a little bit older now. As Aaron mentioned, I was in the Navy for 8 years, which, by the way, stands for Never Again Volunteer Yourself. But my sons were smarter than me because the 2 oldest wanted to get into the military after college, so they went into the Air Force. In fact, the oldest son is an intelligence officer in the Air Force. He's reading your email right now. The second son is a KC-10 pilot. You guys know what a KC-10 is? In fact, I just landed 2 hours ago. There are 4 KC-10s at the Bangor airport right now. The Air Force only has 59 of them. 4 of them are right here. I texted my son, and he goes, yeah, they're doing an exercise out here. So I guess they're doing some refueling exercises. That's what they do. They refuel other planes in flight. So we say about my son, Spencer, our middle son, we say every day he flies up to 30,000 feet. He sits around, and he passes gas. And he gets paid for it. This is every man's dream. If I got paid to pass gas, I'd be a multimillionaire already. The third son is not in the military, but he is out of the house. So my wife and I are now empty nesters. Do we have any empty nesters in here? Just a few up there, yep. Yeah, it took us a while to get used to that. About 10 minutes. That's how long it took to change the locks. We love our kids, but they're messy. Anyway, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through these 4 questions, and we're going to start right here at does truth exist? Are you guys ready to go? And then at the end of this, we're going to do Q&A. Actually, did you say we're going to do Q&A? Actually, we're not going to do Q&A. We're going to do all Q, no A. All right? Everyone gets to ask a question, takes all the pressure off me. All right, now we'll have time for Q&A later. You guys, come on in. Come on, we got room, plenty of room. Come on in. We're just getting started. And we're going to start with, does truth exist? You guys ready to go? All right. Now, whenever you start talking about truth, you always have to start with Jack Nicholson. Right? Because Tom Cruise had him on the witness stand, and he said to him, Colonel, I want the truth. And Nicholson said, that wasn't bad, but no, he didn't say it just that way. If he said it that way, the movie would have gone nowhere. Here's how he said it. All right, let's try it again. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Much